Welcome back to the show. We'll get to Raptors Sixers in just a second, but first, Nuggets Blazers. Jamal Murray
horse shot
over the backboard, circus shot while falling out of bounds.
Now, you would think after the 4 overtime game, this is the first 2 points of the game. So said, okay, we're going to change our fortune after losing the 4 overtime game. All right, and they did.
I said horse shot.
Not sure what that was.
Yeah,
I got a little nervous.
Old Larry Bird shot, and then it was illegal. Now it's legal again. Over
Yeah,
the top
that is
of the
right.
backboard. Yep.
All right, more from Murray. Gets to the rack, dunks on 2 Blazers.
This was a obviously critical win for Denver last night to not fall down 3-1 after the what has to be just soul-crushing to lose in 4 overtimes. First playoff team to lose in 4 overtimes in 50 years. Murray was spectacular.
Is Jamal Murray outplaying Dame?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Because he was yesterday.
I might have to do a blind review. I might work.
Okay.
Rockets Warriors from Saturday. Clint Capella meeting Andre Iguodala at the rim with an incredible two-handed block.
I think this is the best block of the season.
And to get it with 2 hands like that.
Oh, time it spectacular.
Iggy trying to increase his playoff lead in total dunks as he leads all players. Capella said, y'all trying to take me out the starting lineup. Man, I'm telling you, Austin Rivers can't do this. That should have been a jump ball, by the way. But that is a great play. That's a great play. Capella met him.
Block of the year.
All right, let's head to Philly. Sixers, Raptors, Game 4. Toronto looking to even up the series. It's easy when Kawhi Leonard plays on your team. It's also easy when Joel Embiid is sick again. Second time this series. So Kawhi dropped 39 points. The guy's averaging 38 this series. Raptors get the 101-96 win to take back home court advantage. Chris Carter, how impressive was Kawhi on Sunday?
Well, I'm so glad to see this because there was no player in the NBA last season I thought took more unfair criticism than Kawhi Leonard. And it's basically because a guy who had a spectacular reputation, very, very quiet, but because of what happened, legitimately, what happened with San Antonio, almost everyone took San Antonio's side because of their 20-year track record, how they deal with players, their medical staff, stuff people don't even know. They were trying to validate, oh, their medical staff is great for years. You don't know that. And people just absolutely took their side and did not give Kawhi the benefit of the doubt that he had a real injury. People thought that he was faking it, that he was dramatizing it to be able to force his way out. And I know Kawhi. I know the people that handle Kawhi, and I know he had a legitimate injury. I asked him several questions before the season started, and it was basically, is Kawhi healthy? And they were like, yes. And I said, what do you expect to see? And said, go back to the first question. Is Kawhi healthy? Now, to me, he's even a more improved version. I think that he's improved in some areas. Of course, being able to shoot the 3 ball, but I believe he's a better playmaker at this stage. But to be able to see him go to a team like Toronto, and this is what you want to see with Kevin Durant. You don't want to see him play with no superstars. You want to see him play with some good ball players so that the superstardom comes out. It's forced out of him.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing with Kawhi Leonard, the best two-way player that we have in the NBA, a guy that if you want to have a chart to see, okay, let's see a player ascend. A guy who didn't come in a top 5 pick in the NBA lottery, but ascending the right way as far as averages every year, as far as his minutes, shooting percentages, gradually, free throw shooting percentage.
Everything.
He's always been a great defender. And now it's being, I believe, and he's been finals MVP. I believe it's all coming into play now, and that's what we're seeing in the second round series against the 76ers, Nick.
Kawhi Leonard's been the best player in these NBA playoffs, and that's no disrespect to Kevin Durant or Damian Lillard or James Harden or Giannis. What Kawhi is doing on a night-in, night-out basis, where if we were ranking players in the series, Toronto's got the first draft pick, and Philly might have the next 4. Siakam's now hurt. Lowry's doing his playoff thing. Marc Gasol's not getting touches. Like, who would you take on Toronto other than Kawhi before Embiid or before Butler or even before Simmons or Harris? Like, Kawhi is doing this on his own. He played 43 minutes in this game. Like
that was a challenge, too.
I said, man, you took 22 games off for load management, so you're ready for this moment. In Game 3, he was pacing to play 40 minutes. It ended up being a blowout, so he didn't play the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. They have fallen apart when he's gone to the bench. I've seen this story before. It was called LeBron in Cleveland. And you better be ready in the playoffs, play at least 42 minutes, because your team cannot handle you off the court for 8 minutes. That was the case again yesterday. They're +7 in the 43 minutes he plays. They're outscored in the 5 minutes he's on the bench. For the series, that means on a net rating basis, they're averaging +7.5 when he's out there, -49 when he's not. So they are just getting annihilated every minute he's on the bench. Siakam, his second best player, injured himself, cheap shot in Joel Embiid. He was a game-time decision, surprised he played, but in the box score, you're like, oh, he didn't really play.
No, first field goal late in the third quarter.
Right, absolutely. I think he started 0 for 7 from the game. Kyle Lowry, we're like, oh, he had a good game for him this playoffs. 6 of 13. And for how Lowry's been playing, that's a good game. They're getting nothing from their bench. Nope. Fred VanVleet, another offer. Norman Powell, who they're paying $10 million a year the next couple of years, nothing. Serge was the only guy who gave him anything off the bench. Kawhi willed them to the win. And if it wasn't for Dame's shot to win a playoff series, that shot Kawhi hit would be the biggest shot of this postseason. 1-point game, minute left, guy in your face, step back three in your eye, while playing my 43rd minute of the night. He's been spectacular. The only reason this series is tied and not 4-0 Philly is because of the individual will of Kawhi Leonard through 4 games. I can't speak highly enough at what he's done thus far this series.
Sure, Kawhi willed them to the win, and of course it was helped by the fact that Joel Embiid can't seem to stay healthy. If it's not an injury, he had the gastroenteritis.
Consistent, that being either by play, that being by availability and our health, it would be a huge concern because it's hard to run the team around a guy that you don't know if he's going to be there. And Joel Embiid, even though he might be on the court, he wasn't Joel Embiid, the all-star. No. So now, how do I defer? Because typically they're going to run 75% of the things through him. And now these other players, when he's on the court, I don't see them. I just go back to the Brooklyn series, and I was just shocked by it. And I give Ben Simmons some credit for it. When Joel Embiid was out, he played the best game I had seen him play as a pro. Yes. So when Joel Embiid, they're going to have to get used to, a lot like when Kobe played with Shaq. Man, there are going to be some days, man, Shaq ain't going to have his best. Now, you got to be able to judge that in real time and still be able to play basketball at a high level. I don't see the Sixers. Sometimes they're confused at what they want to do. Sometimes they let Jimmy Butler run the team. Sometimes they're trying to let Ben run the team. But we know the focus is Joel Embiid. He's the best center that we have in the NBA. And when he's not 100%, it's hard for him just to try to do some of the other roles, play defense and other things that you can do, and be able to fill up the stat sheet that's just not scoring the basketball name.
Embiid was obviously really bad. He made 2 baskets in this game, and he clearly was not 100%. But what's a killer for the Sixers is, so okay, Embiid's not 100%, but Jimmy Butler was really good again. J.J. Redick was hitting his shots. This has been a tough series for Tobias Harris. Who does that leave? That leaves Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons in this series, Ben Simmons, a guy who I have defended and supported repeatedly. First game of the series, 14, 9, and 3, 7 of 8 from the field, but they get blown out, so it's not really impactful. Since then, 6, 7, and 5, 10, 7, and 7, 10, 5, and 4. Typically, if Ben Simmons isn't scoring, he's at least getting other people involved. When you're averaging, what's the math on that? 6 assists per game, just under actually 5 assists per game. What he's doing for the series. I understand that he, in theory, has been the guy guarding Kawhi, and he did a good job on Kawhi individual matchups. But Kawhi's still getting close to 40 a night, so he's not having the impact there. Like Simmons has to be better, and he made some. We know what he can't do. But what he is supposed to be able to do is be a smart player, help you in transition. They had a 3-on-1 fast break. He had a layup. He gives the ball up for no reason whatsoever. I think to Tobias Harris, they don't get a basket out of it. He basically walked, I think it was James Ennis, into a charge on when he was running the baseline. Ben Simmons has been a killer for Philly in this series. Despite how great Kawhi was, and despite how poorly Joel Embiid played, they could have won yesterday's game with just an average Ben Simmons game. They didn't get it.
Even in the plus-minus category, Joel Embiid, not a great game. He's plus 17. Ben Simmons, he stays under the radar as far as the criticism, but he should be getting some of that criticism. He was minus 16. Yeah. So they need Ben Simmons. And I heard someone say it on TV. I don't know who it is. I heard someone say it. They are a Ben Simmons jump shot away from being an NBA's finals basketball team. And that's a frightening feeling. Because Ben Simmons is that kind of player. He's that kind of athlete. But the court will open up when he learns how to shoot it in Philadelphia. Well, he's not going to learn in this playoff series. But this is what I believe, and I've been saying it for a long time. Ben Simmons, he will hurt, especially when you get to the playoffs, because the defense and how teams play is totally different.
Because it's magnified that much more, and now you see it in this series. All right, time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by CarMax. Last night, the aforementioned Kawhi Leonard was excellent, and the Raptors needed all 39 of his points to avoid going down 3-1. Nick, put a grade on Kawhi's performance.
A double plus. It'd have been a triple plus if he could have hit one of those free throws at the end, so he could have got his 40-piece on 20 shots.
Right.
He missed 2 free throws when the game's decided. He was so good on both ends, hitting tough shots. Contested mid-range twos. A contested 3 was the biggest shot of the game. He was spectacular.
He was spectacular in all aspects of the game. Rebounding the basketball, playing defense. Kawhi's a special player. And I didn't want it because he's my guy. But when you said he's been the best in the NBA playoffs, that's saying an awful lot, Trey. You got to give him an A+.
All right, good stuff. Coming up, LeBron James chiming in on Magic.